a legend, his car, and the bulldog spirit.
Welcome to Driven by Classics, and today we're doing things a little bit differently. Courtesy of Classic and Sports Car magazine that Martin writes for, we are in the presence of a very rare Daimler.
Yes.
What is it, Martin?
It's a DB18 Drophead by Carlton. That's the coach builder.
Yep.
And it's unique. It's a unique car. It's the only one left out of 23 that were going to be made.
23 were originally planned to be made by Daimler. They made 8. Then their factory was bombed during the war. That left 3, and over time, 2 of them have completely disappeared. And then that left 1. And so that's a really unique, rare, nice-looking car.
It's a beautiful, pretty car. It's for sale at Classic Automobiles near Petersfield in Hampshire.
It is, and that's where we are now.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes it truly unique is...
It was used in 1944 and 1949 by Winston Churchill. He wasn't a Sir then. That didn't come till later. He'd only won the war for us. And he used it as part of his campaign.
And he sat on the back, and 2 speakers were mounted sort of above the headlights. And he went around the country campaigning. And if you look back at the old footage, there's thousands of people wherever he goes, isn't there?
That's right, yeah. There's lots of Pathé News footage of the car. So it's amazing it's survived, really.
It really is, yeah.
Especially when you consider that in one single bombing raid in 1940, 15 acres of the factory were left in ruins. It's said that 150 high-explosive bombs were dropped on the Daimler factory during the war. But chassis number 49531 was a survivor. Anyway, what's it like to drive?
And we're off for a road test of the Daimler DB18.
Yeah. Next step in acceleration.
Acceleration not exactly rapid, but we've got to admit that it's not running as smoothly as it might do.
No, it's got a little bit of shit in a carburetor or something, but it goes okay actually.
Yeah, it's not bad. Nice view down the bonnet.
Nice view down the bonnet. It's quite a pleasant little car.
Yeah, nice. It's very much of the period, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it sort of wanders around a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a loose bit in the middle of the steering, but...
Like many cars were, though, you know.
Yeah, it's probably just...
You don't drive them, you sail them.
You sail them, yeah. It's approximation. You drive to the nearest foot, not the nearest inch.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah.
So the turning circle, you think the turning circle's bad, but it's actually not too bad.
Not too bad, yeah. And we reckon 18 to 20 to the gallon, don't we?
20 to the gallon, probably just about 80 mile an hour maybe, on a good day, with the following wind.
The following wind, yeah.
It's unusual it's got a rev counter. I wouldn't have thought anything like this didn't probably do that. But
yeah. Just drive carefully, man. We got Winston in the back.
Got Winston in the back, the ghost of Winston, yeah.
The ghost of Winston, yeah.
So it's got top, T for top, and I realised O must mean overdrive.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think if I put it in overdrive, it'll start going backwards, I think.
Or off.
Off, yeah.
Now, it does cross our mind that Daimler, as a manufacturer, to many people, they won't even know what we're talking about, will they?
No, I mean, it's probably 20 years since it was last used.
So the badge was last used by Jaguar.
Jaguar, yeah.
Exactly. But it was the oldest established British car manufacturer, wasn't it?
It was, and it was second only in prestige to Rolls-Royce. In fact, it was equal in prestige to Rolls-Royce.
Back in the day, this was a really
very upmarket
posh car.
Very posh car. It was the one and only royal car. Yeah. It was the first royal car, and up until the early 50s, it was the only cars royals used.
Yeah.
But then there was a lady called, a lady docker, who had certain activities came to light. She was part of the Daimler company. Her husband, Sir Bernard, indulged her, and then the royal patronage was lost, they think, because of that. So they never actually admitted to that.
And also, there's this whole thing too about Daimler as a car making company, but also the hire business.
There was Daimler had a hire car company that hired limousines out to the royal household and to anybody else that wanted to use them.
And probably Winston.
Probably that was part of the same
deal. Because it was owned by them for 10 years, and they they loaned it to him
Yeah.
on 2 occasions.
Yes.
So some people think, oh, he owned this car, but no, he didn't. It was loaned to
It was
him.
loaned or just you may not even have to pay for it. I don't know.
No.
But
absolutely.
there was definitely a hire car arm, and they were very expensive cars. Not many people could afford to buy one.
No.
And you only normally saw one at a wedding or a funeral, a Daimler.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, DB18. Now, I've heard of DB Aston Martins, but DB, what's it mean? DB18?
Well, the 18 is the taxable horsepower, RAC horsepower tax,
Oh,
and they
RAC.
taxed it on the bore, not the stroke.
Right.
So that meant you got your seats. They tended to concentrate on things being long stroke because they didn't tax you on the stroke; they taxed you on the bore. So that's its taxable horsepower. I'm not sure if it meant £18 a year but that's the RAC horsepower tax, which ended in the late 40s sometime.
Oh, I said a horrible thought. If this is broadcast, some government is going to think about bringing it back.
That's right, man.
Oh no! What have we done?
I think they still, until recently, I think they still had something similar in Germany when cars were taxed on horsepower.
Oh, that's interesting.
But it wasn't like that. It was done on, for a long time, anything over 2.8 litres was madness on the continent because they tax you a huge amount.
Right, tell us, engine. So 2.5 litre?
2.5 litre, 70, 80 horsepower, probably does might do 80. It's got independent front suspension, but it's got this pre-selector gearbox, which is what they had on buses and racing cars and tanks, and it was a precursor to having a fully automatic gearbox. Yeah. So basically, it's got a fluid flywheel, and you select a gear on a quadrant, but you engage the gear by pressing the clutch. So the clutch isn't a clutch; it's almost a big switch.
Yeah.
And it can be. It's a very, very quick way of changing gear, and that's why they used it on racing cars.
Yes.
Even until the 50s. But once you had automatic gearboxes and synchromesh, it's kind of died out. But it's a big, heavy lump.
Yeah.
You can imagine they used something similar on a bus.
Yeah.
But it's interesting bit of old technology.
Yeah. So actually, the more you look into this particular car, because of the history, the fact there's only one of them, it becomes ever more interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Doesn't it?
It's a pretty car. I mean, I don't know much about Carlton. I don't know where they were based. I think they might have been based in London. I think. Yeah. Well, most of the coach builders were in London. It was a bit like you had your suits in Savile Row.
Yes.
And then in West London they did your car bodies.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Daimler did any of their own bodies. I don't think.
No.
And that was the problem these companies had, was making bodywork in large quantities.
Yes.
And Daimler only tended to make quite small batches of cars, and they'd change the design, but they never changed it much.
No.
They weren't very sort of particularly forward thinking, I would say.
No.
They were quite staid. But the Jaguar took them over in '61 just because they wanted the factory space. It was the Radford factory that would have been the one that had been bombed, because Daimler were making military stuff. I think they were probably making tanks and scout cars.
Absolutely,
and
loads of
stuff. Using this pre-selector gearbox.
Yeah. I have a job to compute that there's only one of them, and that the one of them happened to be Winston Churchill, the famous person.
It's the one with the Winston
amazing,
Churchill connection that's
weird,
lasted.
Yeah, maybe it's because of that it has lasted.
Yeah, I suppose people down the line
it's
probably
been restored, isn't it? And it was restored about 40 years ago.
I don't feel it ever got into really bad condition.
No.
I think it's always been looked after.
Yeah.
But it's been fully restored in Germany, of all places.
It was.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful car. And if you want to learn more about the Daimler DB18, then you can read your article that's appearing in
Classic and Sports Car.
Absolutely. We hope you've enjoyed this insight into the Daimler DB18. We'll see you next time.